So now we're unfortunately sitting in a place where, lots of people are calling this a bear market. I'm unfortunately someone who isn't. I'm not 100% convinced to saying it's a bear market. It's a bull market, but right now it's definitely not a market where I'd want to have all of my eggs on the table. All my chips out, ready to pounce. I say for a shorter term view, we can see here that Bitcoin's considering a little bit of a pump out, maybe a small retrace, potentially to retest this kind of orange trend line. But then again, I still personally would not be confident in a bullish trend for the whole market until, Bitcoin's back up here somewhere, until we've cleared this whole area and we're sitting at around, 38, 39,000 again. Because for me, I think there's a very good likelihood in the current macroeconomic environment that we continue lower. And by lower, I'm not going to give a perfect price estimate, but I would definitely have some open interest low here around 22, 23K. And then, I've got other price points further down. But I mean, if you're someone who's looking to DCA, these aren't bad prices to be looking at. That's definitely something I would say. So in terms of the whole market, I'd say in a time like this, equity markets are plummeting. The global economy is in tatters, as I've kind of pointed out in my post here. We've gone through an extended period of time where the NASDAQ and Bitcoin and other cryptos have been extremely correlated. This is something that we're not used to seeing in the crypto space. For a very long time, crypto behaved very unique in a very degen way. It would not work like a traditional market because traditional guys weren't involved. And over the last couple of years, we've seen such an influx of VC money, big financial institutions, hedge funds getting Bitcoin on their balance sheet and things like that. And this has just led to Bitcoin and crypto becoming a bit mainstream and, leading to it almost being classified as a growth tech stock, which is what a lot of people are calling for. And that's kind of what the NASDAQ represents, hence the correlation. So for me, I think given how things have changed in the ecosystem over the last kind of year or two, I would want to see a good move in equity markets to be confident that Bitcoin's going to change the other direction, or alternatively, I would want to see a big reduction in that correlation kind of over time. And in terms of the broader market, generally what we're going to see now is it's risk off. So as I'm sure many people have seen, most altcoins, so an altcoin is anything that isn't Bitcoin basically, have been completely destroyed pretty much. In the last couple of weeks, or even over the last few months, many of them have dropped as much as 90%, 95% off their all-time highs, which, may look like great buying opportunities, but, there's no reason why it can't be from 90% and go to 95%. And maybe you'd enter the market now, and it drops another, 5% from what it was at the top, but that would actually wipe out your 50% of your portfolio maybe, right? Because obviously as you enter lower in the market, you take on more volatility on the downside somehow at the same time. So in terms of the rest of the market, I would say it's a situation where you'd want to see a big move in Bitcoin before anything follows. So if I was going to make trades and I was going to invest, it would more likely be in something like Bitcoin or potentially Ethereum as well, because they are likely to be the ones that are going to move first and potentially move the biggest, as well as having that lower risk towards the downside. As obviously, Bitcoin can go very low. I would say, I wouldn't be shocked to see a Bitcoin at, 10, 15K over the next year, depending on how the macro environment plays out. But of course, when Bitcoin does decide the time has come for the next, move upwards, which will happen, whether it's in 1 year, 2 years, 1 month, 1 week, it doesn't matter. The point is, when it does make that move, it will move first. And then that will give you the opportunity to enter the altcoins once you've got that confirmation. So I think cash is king. It's definitely a time to be careful. Alts are very risky. I wouldn't be holding long-term positions on alts. If you want to trade in and out on a daily basis, that's completely fine. I think you can do that. There's lots of volatility in the market, both for long positions and short, so that's definitely something you can do. But in terms of holding long-term investments, I would be very careful not to throw out all my money now, put it that way.